So the author says, Babu ma'arifati alamati al-i'rab. So Bab means door or portal, and it means here a chapter. The chapter is a portal because it transports you from one subject to another. And this word Bab here, it is a mudaf. It's the first part of the genitive construction or the possessive construction. So then the next word is mudaf ilayhi. That's why it's in a state of jar, and its sign of jar is a kasra. So chapter of the knowledge. Babu ma'rifati. Chapter of knowledge of alamati, the signs of al-i'rabi. So the word mudaf, so the word bab is a mudaf, first part of the possessive construction. And then the word ma'rifa is mudaf ilayhi, second part of the possessive construction. And it also happens to be at the same time a mudaf, because it is influencing the word after it as it's mudaf, and the word after it is the mudaf ilayhi. So as you can see, the word ma'rifa, it's a mudaf and a mudaf ilayhi at the same time. Chapter of the knowledge of the signs of i'rab. And then same thing for alamat. Alamat is mudaf ilayhi for ma'rifa, but at the same time it's mudaf for i'rab. Chapter of the knowledge of the signs of i'rab. So, do you have any question there before I move past that title? Any question? So, the signs of i'rab. What's i'rab? You know what i'rab is, insha'Allah ta'ala. Some of you have been very consistent for many months now. And you know the i'rab is the changing of the endings of the words due to the varying influencing words that govern those influenced words, or due to the varying governing words that influence those words whose endings are changing. So that word, it might be a noun, and its ending could change from a Dammah to a Fatha to a Kasra, yani from a Dammah to a Fatha or a Kasra. Or it might be a verb, and that verb, its ending could change from a Dammah to a Fatha or a Sukun. So that's the i'rab, the changing of the endings of the words due to some influencing word in the sentence that's affecting it. Inshallah, that's clear for you. Pardon me. Now, since, as you can see, there's Dammah, Fatha, Kasra. What's this Dammah? What's this Fatha? What's this Kasra? Yani, these are the signs of i'rab. So now that's all going to be laid out for you. You know what's rafa', and what's nasb, and what's jar, and what's jazm. You know, there's 4 categories of i'rab. Those 4 main segments of a sentence, or slots of a sentence, or they are the 4 slots of a sentence. And you know that Arabic also has, I'm going to use the word sound for now, 4 sounds. Dammah, Fatha, Kasra, and Sukun. So you have Rafa', Nasb, Jar, and Jazm, and you have Dammah, Fatha, Kasra, and Sukun. So you're always going to have these 4 categories of i'rab. How can you tell the difference between them? By their signs. So one of them is going to get a Dammah, and one's going to get a Fatha, and one's going to get a Kasra, and one's going to get a Sukun as its sign. So you can say the difference. But are those signs always those 4 sounds only? No. Sometimes there's something that will be a sign of Rafa instead of a Dammah, or a sign of Nasb instead of a Fatha, or a sign of Jar instead of a Kasra, or a sign of Jazm instead of a Sukun. So now we're going to learn about that. Why would there be all these alternative signs? Because Arabic language has various word forms. The Arabic language has word forms that, word structures. So Arabic needs other signs also besides Dammah, Fatha, Kasra, and Sukun to accommodate some of the different word forms that Arabic has. So that's what we're going to go over today. Is there any question before I go forward? That's why I said I'm going to use the word Sukun. That's why I said like that. Just to avoid that question. It's like I'm just trying to make it easy on myself. Because if it were really a sound, then I think I wouldn't say, I'm going to use the word sound. But barakallahu feek, I hope that wasn't a condescending tone. I just want to explain myself. But a sukun is the absence of a vowel. A sukun is the absence of a vowel. And so the author says, may Allah have mercy upon him, لِلرَّفْعِ أَرْبَعُ عَلَامَاتٍ. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of this paragraph. Rafa' has 4 signs. So what's Rafa'? Rafa' is that slot in a sentence that accommodates several things, amongst which is the subject of the sentence. We'll keep it that simple for now. So the subject of the sentence, which position does he take? Which role does he play in the sentence? If we want to look at the 4 categories of i'rab as roles, they're all playing roles in the sentence. So a sentence has 4 roles that need to be played. Sometimes up to 4 roles that need to be played. So what plays the role of rafa'? The subject of the sentence, among other things. So this role, this slot in the sentence has 4 signs. Al-Dammatu wal-wawu wal-alifu wal-noon. The Dammah, the waw, the alif, and the noon. And I'll remind you also, Nahu does not address the meanings of words. So as what we are studying together here is not something that is formulated to increase your vocabulary per se. Rather, what we are addressing now is basically the outline of the language. It's like the outline of the language. So Rafa has 4 signs. The Dammah, that's the original sign. And anything else would be replacing a Dammah. And there's 3 replacements for a Dammah. Waw and alif and noon. So sometimes, let's say, the subject of the sentence is going to have a Dammah. That depends on the structure of the word. And sometimes the subject would have an alif or a waw as a sign of rafa'. And sometimes the verb is going to have a noon as a sign of rafa' instead of a Dammah. So let's see. He says, فَأَمَّا الضَّمَّةِ. As for the Dammah, فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلرَّفْعِ فِي أَرْبَعَةِ مَوَاضِعٍ. It would be a sign of rafa' in 4 spots. In 4 types of words. Now we're going to learn 4 word structures. All these 4 word structures, if they were in a state of rafa', they would have a Dammah. What are they? He says, fil ismil mufrad, in the singular noun. Singular as opposed to being dual or plural. Singular means refers to one. Such as the word, here's one, bab. Babu, look at that Dammah right there. Bab, this is a singular noun in a state of rafa'. Took a Dammah right there. Or look at this one right here. Arba'u. Arba'u, 4. That's a singular noun. That's singular noun. Arba', 4. That's the name of the number. The name of the number. It's a singular noun. 4. And look at these here. Al-Dammatu, wal-wawu, wal-alifu, wal-nunu. So للرفع أربع علامات. Rafa has 4 signs. The Dammah, the Waw, the Alif, and the Noon. فأما الضمة فتكون علامة للرفع في 4 مواضع. As for the Dammah, it would be a sign of Rafa in 4 spots. في الاسم المفرد, in the singular noun. That means it's not dual or plural. Because if it were dual, then it uses a different sign for Rafa. If it were plural, then depends on what kind of plural it is. It might use another sign for Rafa. What does that mean? Depends on what type of plural it is. Right here, he tells you, وَجَمْعِ تَكْسِير. And Dammah will be a sign of Rafa in a broken plural. What's a broken plural? A broken plural is a plural that's achieved by altering the form of the singular. Altering the form of the singular by addition or subtraction or changing vowels. So, for example, you know the word rajul, man. So if it were in a state of rafa', there would be a Dammah there. Rajulun, yani. The first Dammah is the sign of rafa'. The second Dammah is the tanween, if you remember. Don't forget that. The second Dammah, that's the noon. When you say rajulun, an unwritten noon. But it still has some sort of representation written, which is the extra haraka. So that's a singular noun. What's the plural of rajul? The plural of rajul is rijal. Rijal, men. So likewise, if this plural were in a state of rafa', then you'd say rijalun, rijalun, and the Dammah is still a sign of rafa' here, because that's a broken plural. How was this plural achieved? It was achieved by altering vowels and adding a letter. So by addition and change of vowels. How can you get a broken plural? By addition or subtraction or change of vowels. Or a mixture of any of that. In this case, we added a letter. The plural has more letters than the singular, but doesn't have to be, such as the word you know. Put it here. Kitab, that's 4 letters. That's singular. So if this were in a state of rafa', you'd say kitabun, and the Dammah is the sign of rafa'. What's the plural of kitab? Its plural is kutub. So we achieve this plural by subtracting a letter and changing vowels. And if this were in a state of rafa', since it's a broken plural, then also its sign of rafa' is going to be a Dammah. Or I'll give you a third example. Like asad, lion, that's singular noun. If it were in a state of rafa', then you'd say asadun, sign of rafa' is a Dammah. And you can pluralize this word by saying usud. Here we didn't add a letter, nor did we subtract a letter. We just changed vowels. And in this case, still going to be, if it weren't a state of rafa', that its sign of rafa' would be a Dammah, because it's a broken plural. So, fil ismi al-mufrad, in the singular noun, the Dammah would be a sign of rafa'. وَجَمْعِ التَّكْسِير, and in the broken plural, the Dammah would be a sign of rafa'. وَجَمْعِ الْمُؤَنَّثِ السَّالِمِ, وَجَمْعِ الْمُؤَنَّثِ السَّالِمِ, and the sound feminine plural. What is the sound feminine plural? The best alternative name for the sound feminine plural is, write this down, what was pluralized by an additional alif and ta? ما جمع بألف وتاء مزيدتين. What was pluralized by an additional alif and ta? So for example, you say, here's singular, Muslimah. That's singular. So then, if it were in a state of rafa, sign is going to be a Dammah. And the plural of that is Muslimat. And so, its sign of rafa is going to be a Dammah because it's a sound feminine plural. What makes it a sound feminine plural? What makes it sound, because you want to break down everything word by word, what makes it sound is that the structure of the singular form remains intact. And what makes it feminine is that it is for the feminine. So Muslimah, female Muslim. Muslimat, female Muslims. And like that. So you'd say kafirah, female disbeliever. So the plural is kafirat, sound feminine plural. Or mu'minah, believing female. And so the plural is mu'minat, believing females. See, this is how Nahu gives you the blueprint for the language. Nahu here is not designed to give you words and vocabulary words. Nahu is giving you the outline of the language. That's why Nahu is the most important science of Arabic language. Arabic language has 10 sciences, and Nahu is the most significant. وَالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٍ. And the mudari' verb that nothing suffixed to its end. وَالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ الَّذِي, the mudari' verb الَّذِي, the one that لَمْ يَتَّصِلْ بِآخِرِهِ شَيْءٍ, nothing suffixed. I don't even have to say to its end. When you say suffix means to the end. Nothing suffixed to it. So I see in Arabic when they mention the prefix, they say dakhil, like dukhulul alif wal lam, prefixing the alif and the lam. And the suffix is al-ittisal. Yani that's what I find consistent. So the mudari' verb, you know the mudari' verb, that's the present / future tense verb. Present / future tense verb. That's what I'm calling it. Sometimes I'll call it present tense, sometimes I'll call it future tense, and maybe I'll call it something else sometimes. It's called mudari' because it resembles a noun. The meaning of mudari' is resembling. How does it resemble a noun? It resembles a noun in the fact that it can play more than one role in the sentence. It has a range. It has a range. It can play more than one role in the sentence. Just like the noun. As for the noun, yani, as you know, for example here, rajul, he could be the subject of the sentence. So if we said al-rajul, al-rajulu, he's the subject of the sentence. Still rajul, man, he's man. But he's man being told about because he's subject of the sentence. Or it could be al-rajula, receiver of the action. Daraba al-rajula, he struck the man. Still the man, but he's playing a different role in the sentence now, receiving the action. Daraba al-rajula, he struck the man. Or it might be the object of the preposition. So you say, for example, min ar-rajuli, from the man. Or it could be the second part of the possessive construction. Like kitabur rajuli, the book of the man, kitabur rajuli. So this one word can play many roles. It has a range. This range is usually present in nouns, not verbs. But sometimes some verbs do have some range. And since they have such range, then they also need signs to distinguish what role they're playing. And so, for example, you would say, لا تفعل. If we put a Dammah there, لا تفعلوا, then this is a declarative sentence. That means we are simply informing. So which one of those moods is that one, brother? Which mood is that? Indicative mood? لا تفعل. It means, since you're informing, you do not do. Yani, this is true or false. لا تفعل, this is true or false. You do not do. But we could also say here, لا تفعل with a sukoon. Now, so we said that's jussive case, jazm. Now it means don't do. You don't do. That's a prohibition. So if I were informing you, I'd be saying you don't do. And if I were forbidding you, I'd be saying you don't do. So since this type of verb is able to yani has some range, yani can play multiple roles in the sentence, then it is also susceptible to i'rab. And this is what makes the fi'l mudari' similar to a noun. And so the Dammah is going to be a sign of rafa'. The Dammah is going to be a sign of rafa' for a fi'l mudari' إذا لم يتصل بآخره شيء, as long as nothing suffixed to its end. But I'd actually like to save that for next week, so I can unravel that for you, inshallah. إذا لم يتصل بآخره شيء. Let's take a quick look at Hamza Yusuf, inshallah ta'ala, translation. So he says, Chapter 3, Knowledge of the Signs of Inflection. Rafa' has 4 signs. Okay. Dammah, waw, alif, noon. Okay. That's serviceable. Dammah is the sign of Rafa' in 4 instances. That's a nice translation. He says instances. The Arabic word is mawadi', that I translated as spots. Mawadi' is the plural of the word mawdi'. Mawdi' means the place of putting. The place of putting. So I said spot, in 4 spots. He said in 4 instances. Spots is probably closer translation though. The singular noun, correct. The broken plural, correct. The sound feminine plural, yes. And he says the verb in the imperfect, they call imperfect tense, free of agents and having nothing at its termination, such as the feminine noon or the noon of confirmation. So I really don't like the way that's translated there. والفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. And the verb in the imperfect, so the fi'l mudari', free of agents, that's not in the Arabic. It's true, but it's not in the Arabic. Free of agents means there's nothing coming upon it and putting it into the state of nasab or the state of jazm. والفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. And having nothing at its termination. I don't find it strong. Yani, lam yattasil. It's not connected. Nothing is connected. Yani, nothing is suffixed. So I feel like that's not clearly expressed here in this translation. Such as the feminine noon or the noon of confirmation. Yeah, that's true, but so. Yani, it was okay till it got down to number 4. Do you have any question I can answer for you? You said I mentioned true or false regarding the non-declarative sentence. No, only declarative sentence. لا تفعل, لا تفعلوا, that's declarative sentence. It's true or false. As for لا تفعل with sukoon, do not do, that's not true or false. You said, why did I find his translations free of agents and for instance not very accurate? Because free of agents means mujarrad min nasibin o jazim. Free of agents means mujarrad min al nasibi wal jazim. It's not there in the Arabic. So it's true, but it's not there. So an option would be put it in parentheses or put it in a footnote. And as for instance, so the word instance, I understand the word instance to mean a time, yani a time of event, a time of event. As for mawdi', it means a place of putting. So that's why I find it's not as accurate as it could be. There's several words for place in Arabic: makan and mahal and mawdi' and some other places like maqar. If there's no other question, then subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.